Welcome to The Money Movement, a show where we explore the issues and ideas shaping this brave new world of digital currency and blockchains. Today, we're going to be exploring the world of stablecoins and international payments. How can people, individuals, and businesses use this powerful technology, these digital dollars or crypto dollars, as some folks like to say these days, to move value around internationally? It's one of the really critical and important building blocks of public blockchains, is that you have the reach of the internet. And so we're really excited to be able to talk about that today. I think obviously when a lot of people think about stablecoins, the sort of root use case, or sort of where these emerged, was in trading and markets. It was traders and people moving around value at high speed across the internet, across these digital trading venues. And of course, the traders that started and drove the early adoption of this really saw the power of this as an international payment medium. They could settle a transaction with a counterparty anywhere in the world with very little risk, with very low cost. And I think very quickly saw that this form of moving value and making payments was far superior to the existing infrastructure that they had to move value around, like the existing legacy financial system. And secondly, when we think about USDC in particular and Center Consortium and what we really tried to put forward when we established that 2 years ago, the vision behind that wasn't how do we create a better digital dollar for trading markets. The vision was, how do we create a protocol and an infrastructure that's going to allow for interoperable payments everywhere, and that payments would have the same reach and utility as we have with sharing content and data and communications on the internet. And that was that core vision. So while things like USDC and Tether and other stablecoins have really taken hold in the world of trading, the uses are really evolving. And we're seeing those uses evolve very fast over the past 6, 9, 12 months into this world of international payments. And it is, in fact, one of the largest and fastest growing opportunities in this digital currency world. And so today, I'm really excited to have several guests who are going to be joining us. These are key leaders of firms that work in markets across Asia and Latin America, and who are really firsthand both participating in and seeing these shifts happen. And so I'm very excited to have these guests. And to kick this off, I'd like to welcome our first guest, Darius Sit, the co-founder and managing partner at QCP Capital. It's so nice to see you, Darius.
Hi, Jeremy.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Always good to speak to you.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going really well. I appreciate your joining us very late in Singapore. So thank you very much, of course.
No problem.
Yeah. So, maybe we can just start. I want to talk a little bit about QCP. Obviously, you've been, in this business of using stablecoins for quite some time, active in the trading markets. And increasingly, you do much of your business in stablecoins. Maybe just tell us a little bit about that and why that's become such a central part of your firm and how you guys operate.
Well, to start, QCP, just a couple of lines, we are a trading firm. We focus a lot on spot flow in local markets in Asia, global as well. But, we do a big focus on Southeast Asia, China and Korea as well. We do a lot of derivatives as well. So, stablecoins are a very, very big part of our business because of the way things are moving in terms of settlements in Asia, as well as the use of stablecoins for trading and derivatives. So, to answer your question, I think, 3 years ago, I think we realized that it was going to be a very, very big and scalable operation to go into stablecoins. The trigger for us was really China, because even 3-4 years ago, China, we already had a chat with the PBOC, and we knew their intentions to launch a digital currency, not just for trading or not just for crypto specific purposes, but really to replace their fiat currency. That digital currency was going to be the way of doing it. And if you go to China, you will see that the adoption is already there because no one uses cash. Everyone is doing payments with digital in digital forms. If you go to a Starbucks there and you take out a note to pay, everyone looks at you and wonders which village you're from. So when we saw this, we realized that the rest of the world was one step behind.
Yeah.
And we knew that the stablecoins were going to be something, even though at that point it was very specific to crypto natives and very specific, very, very small section of just trading, right? Like, USDT being used for leverage trades and whatnot. We knew that it was going to be a tectonic shift at some point.
Yeah.
And fast forward to today, in China, the government is paying their civil servants in digital currency. So, it's huge.
Yeah, I think I remember we met, I don't know how long ago it was, and I was really struck by part of what you were sharing, which was that, you had started using stablecoins as a way to settle between, sort of trading counterparties, and that you were seeing a real shift. And that shift was that the people who wanted to use stablecoins wanted to actually use it as like a settlement medium for commerce. And it wasn't just about how to use this as a speculative, trading tool for, say, trading digital assets, but it was actually people wanted access to and use stablecoins so that they could actually settle commerce transactions between, buyers and sellers, suppliers and customers. Talk a little bit about that shift. When did you start seeing that shift start happening? And in sort of which markets have you really seen that growing?
So the thing is, when we tell most people that we are a crypto trading firm, they assume that all our customers are crypto natives or guys who are very familiar with blockchain and crypto, guys who are in the space. But in Asia, that's actually not true. The biggest users of stablecoins are guys who are not crypto natives. These are guys who don't own Bitcoin, who don't own Ethereum, but they move and they do settlements in stablecoin, USDT, USDC. And the reason for this is because, the context of Asia is that in Asia, unlike Europe or America, it's a very fragmented economic region. So each country has its own idiosyncratic economic policies, banking policies. There are a lot of capital controls, and it becomes very tricky to move money around. So not just purely, for example, just for business transactions or settlement hedging. It's very tricky. So this started almost organically. I think I would say somewhere early 2019.
Yeah.
We realized that non-crypto natives, business people, corporates were using this as a way to bypass, or rather, not have to go through the banks.
Yeah.
Not have to go through the remittance houses. Yeah.
Right. This idea, I use this concept of over the top money, and in digital media, there used to be like, you had to get your TV through like broadcast or satellite or cable. And then people went over the top. They went over the top of the internet, and you could just get to the video on the internet. And like, this is over the top money, basically. So, and it's dollars too, which of course, like if you have all these mixed economies and, at the end of the day, everyone feels confident in settling a transaction in dollars. So you get you sort of get the power of the internet, the speed of the internet, the convenience of the internet, and you get dollars, and it sort of goes over the top and opens up for economic relationships a lot of possibilities throughout, I guess, China and Southeast Asia.
Exactly that. So instead of taking a day to settle with the bank and having to go to the bank and do a TT where you have fees, where you have expensive FX spreads, they do it instantly. It's just over WhatsApp, over Telegram, WeChat, boom, done.
Right.
Instant settlement, very low fees, and it's moving really quickly. Yeah.
So how you said it's sort of, you started to see this shift to like businesses and sort of everyday business people who are saying, hey, this is actually just a better way to do business. Starting in early 2019, obviously we've seen in the post-COVID world this dramatic increase in circulation of stablecoins, and on-chain transactions have been growing super fast. It's now like definitely the killer app of blockchains. But like, are you seeing that as well? Just like more and more diverse kind of counterparties that are looking to adopt this now?
Exactly. So crypto natives, of course, the traders as usual, but we started to see guys like furniture distributors, alcohol distributors, guys on the street who are just, buying and selling, wholesale clothing, e-commerce guys.
Amazing.
It made sense. It made completely sense. It made complete sense for them to do it. To do it this way. So they local currency, no problem. They can use the internal banking system. Anything dollars is stablecoin. And then we started to see this had been happening in huge sizes as well. So it's become very corporate, in fact.
Yeah. So this is I think a major shift that people have been sort of looking for, waiting for, which is all of a sudden you've got corporates from small to medium to even some large who are just like, this is just a better way to settle and a better way to move value. And they're just adopting it organically. They're figuring it out. Obviously it's benefiting firms like you that are kind of, key liquidity enablers, in the entire region. That's obviously very, very exciting. So if you had to fast forward, 2 years, I don't want to say 5 years, let's just say 2 years, 3 years, is this going to be, 10x what it is today? Where do you see the volumes? Where do you see the adoption?
I think the sky's the limit. The fact is this: China has already launched it. China, the big banks in China, the Chinese banks have built infrastructure for it. So while everyone was thinking that this is blockchain technology, everyone's gonna take some time to build infrastructure. No, China has the big banks that have already adopted it, built infrastructure. They're paying civil servants in the digital currency. And I think, it's a fact that when China adopts something, the rest of Asia will follow very quickly.
Yeah.
So we're getting requests and engagement from the rest of the Southeast Asian central banks to start looking into this. I think, again, like I said, people don't realize that they are 2 steps behind.
Yeah.
And I think the adoption will happen very, very quickly because it's already a reality in China. I think most people don't know how real the adoption is there right there.
Seems like a real tipping point moment.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Darius, so wonderful to have you on the program, share your perspective from Asia. Really exciting what's happening, and look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. So obviously, a lot of very interesting things happening here. The demand for dollars, the demand for high speed, efficient, secure transactions, the speed and utility of the internet. These are all really powerful forces that are driving stablecoin payments internationally. And just to echo what we're hearing, like, this isn't just traders. This is now corporations of all types, even small merchants that are figuring out that this is just a better way to do business. So, very, very exciting. I want to turn now to another part of the world, to Latin America, and welcome our first of 2 guests from the region. The first, Fabricio Tota, is director at Mercado Bitcoin, the leading digital currency exchange in Brazil. Welcome, Fabricio.
Hi, Jeremy.
It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Excellent. So I know you guys, you recently launched USDC. You recently on your market, and recently launched that in the Brazilian market. Maybe you could just talk a little bit about how you have viewed stablecoins and their importance, and the importance of that in particular for a market like Brazil.
Yes. Actually, we listed USDC, the USDC Brazilian Reais pair here, and we have a different pitch, different objectives, on different goals on listing a stable coin here. The process of selecting was something very important for us to have a really strong stable coin from people very aligned with our values, our mission, our vision of the ecosystem. So that's why we have choose USDC. And differently from what could be the most obvious idea of money flow using stablecoin for settlement and so on. Here, what we thought is a little bit different. We listed a stablecoin, given our customers, almost 2 million customers, an option for getting exposition in US dollars. It's not it's possible, completely possible to get exposed, but not as easy as other parts of the world. For example, you can't have a bank account in US dollars. You have to settle things here in Brazil in Brazilian reais. You can't use US dollars for business in general. So even getting exposed just to protect yourself, okay, maybe Brazilian reais can devaluate, and that really happened this year. We have a sort of stable economy, but not that stable. So to protect yourself from a devaluation from our currency, that was our pitch, and that works.
Yeah. So this is sort of the demand for dollars, but in particular, these are, digital dollars that, you can use, on the internet. You can use them in your own digital wallets. And so for a business or an individual, of course, too, but that's an attractive way to, move and store value, obviously. But of course, right, it has this ability as a settlement medium, right? People who have it understand intuitively that, oh, this is an internet digital dollar. I can now use this with counterparties. I can use it in trade and payments and settlement. Maybe talk a little bit about what this really opens up. Does using USDC and this conversion with Brazilian real, this in some ways it creates kind of a powerful corridor for international payments between Brazil and the rest of the world using stablecoins. What are your expectations around that? Do you see that international payments, kind of digital currency native international payments that kind of come in and out using stablecoins as like a killer app that's going to be driving usage?
Yes, there's this possibility, but regulation is very tough here about sending money, the remittance business. So sending money abroad is not that easy. So you must go to a financial institution, regulated, the central bank. They have control of all the remittance, the in and outflows of money. So even though you can do it, and it's completely legal to buy, to sell, to have, to own stable coins or any other crypto asset, if you use specifically for remittance, then you must go to a financial institution. But I think regulators here, they have a big challenge because they have something that can be used beyond their control. So there's nothing they can do about to avoid people using it for that. So in my opinion, regulators must sit at the table and talk about trying to understand. Unfortunately, Brazilian regulators, they do have a good knowledge about the crypto ecosystem in general. And they're very aware of that. And right now, the Brazilian central bank president is an FX guy. So he was an FX trader. So he knows all the power that stablecoin that they have as a way of moving money. So I think we are at a good position. Mercado Bitcoin itself, we have good relationship with the central bank and with our SEC, CVM, our SEC here. And I believe in a short period of time, maybe things are going to be more flexible for remittance using stable coins, to have even an opportunity to use a sandbox from the regulator, that maybe we can use that for remittance using stable coins also.
Right. So in the traditional model there, you have expensive FX fees. You have to go through a traditional bank. It moves very slow. It can only go to a traditional bank. But obviously with stable coins, people can, just freely make those payments on the internet. And like you said, I think regulators everywhere are sort of coming to realize like this is a new kind of global capability, and and it's sort of, it's happening organically. People are adopting it. So they have to figure out how to adapt. And it sounds like you're right at the cutting edge of that in Brazil.
Yes, yes. The beautiful part is that it's possible, and it's beyond their control. So there's nothing they can do about it. They must talk. They must understand. They have to bring people, bring companies together to find a way to do it in a way that's good for the companies, good for the economy, and good for the country also. I think that many for example, let's say it's about micro remittance, for example, make things cheaper and better for everybody.
Yeah. So are you seeing within your customer base sort of demand either from individuals or businesses where they're interested in that benefit of the sort of the global payment capability that comes with blockchains?
Yes, we do have some people using to pay things here in Brazil. Also, they have found the power of crypto a much easier, much cheaper, and better way of moving money. But specifically for stablecoin and other assets also, other crypto assets. Last year we have seen a boom in investments here in Brazil. So with interest rates going down, so people thought, okay, I have to find a way to make some money with my investments, and investing in other stuff other than bonds or especially public bonds, the most traditional way of investing here, and finding other ways of private bonds or stocks, and now crypto assets,
right.
And even in stable coins included in these crypto assets. I think people are discovering what's possible and what's going on in our ecosystem, and that's amazing.
Yeah, it's obviously, it's very exciting. It's obviously challenging existing kind of frameworks that have applied around the financial system, as we heard earlier with Darius, throughout Southeast Asian markets. I think, very similar situation, but businesses are sort of figuring out this is just a better way to do business, and they're moving into it. And obviously governments are having to react, but it feels like there's obviously a lot of momentum. Well, we're very excited to see USDC adopted in Brazil. That's a really powerful connection to a really critical market, and we'll be very interested to see how the usage grows for you. And again, really appreciate you making time and joining us on the show today. Thank you, Fabricio.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. It's a pleasure, and I hope in a short period of time, I'm sure the usage, people are smarter than us. I think we plan something, we show them a way of using something, but I'm pretty sure they will find other ways, other usages, and that's very exciting.
Absolutely. Thank you again, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
So obviously, I think one of the big themes that we hear and that we see is that people and businesses in many countries around the world, they found it difficult to transact in dollars and to transact in dollars globally. In some markets, and with increasing intensity, there's really profound economic and monetary challenges. And these are driving more and more people into digital currency around the world. And we certainly expect that to accelerate. Now, one such market is Argentina, another key Latin American market. And we're very privileged today to welcome Sebastian Serrano, founder and CEO of Ripio, another fast-growing Latin American digital currency firm. Welcome, Sebastian.
Welcome, and thank you for having us. Nice to talk with you always.
Yeah, likewise. Well, great. So I know Ripio is a very fast-growing digital currency firm in Latin America. You've got support in a number of different countries, but I know one key market that you serve is Argentina. And I wanted to focus a bit first, just a little bit on the dynamics in that market. Maybe talk a little bit about the dynamics of digital currency in Argentina, and maybe a little bit of the broader context, for our audience.
Yeah, so maybe we can talk a little bit about our history, and it has a lot to do with the stablecoins and crypto. Argentina, especially, we have operations in Brazil, Mexico, and many countries, but I grew up in the Patagonia, in the south of Argentina, and I have seen the peso collapse 3 times, and it's like basically once every 10 years, and the country has gone into many economic struggles, several defaults. Is currently on the bridge of a big default. This year the peso has dropped more than 50% in value. And we have a very, very, very bad history of policy on the peso, and it has been very difficult for anyone to store value. So when we started the company in 2013, it was on the mission to give access to cryptocurrency from a very strong need for a good form of money to store value and to save and to connect to the world. And we live in, especially Argentina, it's a country that half of the population doesn't have access to banking. This is common across Latin America. There is a big history of saving in US dollar, in physical cash, that people literally store under the mattress. And that, so we were born to with this mission of give access into this new digital economy. We live in 2020, in the era of the internet. Everybody has a cell phone. 90% of the population have access to the internet. And there is a big distrust in banks, and really a big opportunity and give access to financial services and give a financial inclusion. So that's what make the company exist. And basically our mission has always been around access into all this. And I think the stablecoin is a beautiful development. We actually started educating, and we have a big role in building the tools, but also building education around everything that is connected, because there's not only lack of access to the tool, but it's also lack of the knowledge in how to have control of your finance. So we have been like educating our user base. We start talking about the stablecoins right when they began existing, like 2 years ago. And we integrated stablecoins, the first stablecoin, about a year ago. And we have seen incredible growth, especially over the last few months. We add USDC, and it's kind of like a recommended one in January, and it has exploded in volume. And this all that is happening with the economy, with the pandemic, is it has made like the volume of the stablecoins grow over 20x, and we are seeing a lot of growth. We are currently at Ripio, we're at activity levels of the rally of December 2017 or more. Like two days ago, we had our highest number of concurrent users simultaneously using the wallet. Our main product is a wallet. We had like 2,000 people actively using it at the same time.
That's great.
Which is like a challenge when you grow that fast, and especially in such a constrained environment. But yes, so it's in active users with 3x this year, and it's a fast moving. And the thing is that people is looking for ways to our use case is not so much of payment right now. People is buying and holding.
Yeah,
and there is
stored value. They
yes.
want the power of these digital dollars and the stored value capability, right? But I think it's a really profound moment in time, right? In the economic development in the world, internet's development in the world, this technological development, they're all coming together as a kind of catalysts. And
yes,
you know, we're seeing that, and you're seeing that. It's very exciting. Do you think, you know, as people in Argentina start to, you know, store and hold these digital dollars, they'll realize that they can use them just like a text message. They can use them just like a piece of content on the internet. And of course, they're all very comfortable with that and using that with people they know in every country, everywhere in the world. Is the next step this growth in the use in international payments?
yes, and also this is obviously more the younger population is eager and easy to is the first adopters. Like our user base is 20 to 35.
Yeah.
And older generation is still like want the physical dollar that they can hold. It has saved them so many times.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to older generations to don't have the paper on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
But in younger generations that they WhatsApp everywhere, they are able to contact anyone in the world freely and interact freely. It just makes sense. And I think we're gonna move into a world where everybody's gonna be working together. Like we are forced right now for the situation to be all online. And we are realizing of the power of that. We can like really make most of the companies work online, and it makes sense that we can like just move money as simple and easy.
Yeah.
I think it's also a beautiful revolution in the sense that this is first being adopted by individuals. We are seeing first the individuals to be the first ones to save money before companies and start like using it. This is more retail than funds and corporations.
Yeah.
And I think we like the same, like Fabricio mentioned, in Brazil, regulations for exporting, for example, are very tight. So it's going to be very difficult for a soy exporter, which is the main production in Argentina, to avoid all the regulations that there are around it, to be able to export using stablecoins, which will require a change in the entire framework. But I think like for someone that, you know, like a freelancer that is doing design on the internet, it's gonna be clear, simple, like
creators,
immediate.
creative people, software engineers, content creators, people who make goods for things like e-commerce marketplaces. These they'll be very easy for them to want to adopt this.
They are already working online remotely from their homes, and it's gonna be just simple and cheaper, and it's gonna be adopted from there. And regulators are gonna have to, like with everything, like laws are always behind the usage of things. Like people, they start having a new habit, a new way to interact, and then regulators follow after understanding the use cases and how people is behaving. We have always, like from the beginning, we have always in talk with every regulator, educate them, not only our user base, but also people in the government. And as with everything, there are risks, and good regulations mitigate risks and increase the potential of things. Bad regulations destroy the potential and amplify the risks. So if we're able to work with regulators and governments, we can really have a lot of potential in this, and really grow our online economies, which right now are very tied into the old world.
Yeah, well, it seems like you're laying down the infrastructure for Argentina and of course in other markets in Latin America to plug into this new global digital economic system. And as you said, the young people are figuring it out first, smartly, just to either protect themselves and save value. But of course, they're experiencing the utility of this, and they will lead the way,
Totally.
of course. You know, as you step back, and I know you've been in this industry for a long time, and have a lot of the battle scars. But you know,
but it's a very exciting. It's a very exciting moment.
It is an exciting moment. I was just going to say, this is an exciting moment. Mature stablecoins enabling things is an exciting moment. Where do you see things in 2 years or 3 years with the adoption?
I think we're gonna see tremendous growth. We right now have 450,000 users, mostly in Argentina. Our second country is Brazil. Our main product is the wallet. We also have an exchange, OTC, and the rest of the infrastructure services. We are laying down as you mentioned, the infrastructure for all of these to start building the future of finance. And I expect like in 2-3 years, we might be in millions of users, maybe 5-6 million users. I think we're in that tipping point, and by 2024, I think we will be in that levels, right? And to put in an order of magnitude, one of the biggest wallets in Argentina is Mercado Pago from Mercado Libre, the largest e-commerce. They have the last number I have is 800,000 users. Mm-hmm. So crypto is like in a very big, in the same order of magnitude.
Yeah, it should surpass that, right? Because people can
get. It will surpass that, yes, very likely.
Yeah, that could happen very fast. It'll be fun to watch. Well, Sebastian, it's really wonderful to connect, really wonderful to hear the story. I'm really excited about the momentum, of course, and we're watching really closely how this technology starts to spread and connect people in Argentina into this economy everywhere, and appreciate all the work that you're doing as well.
Thank you for having me. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So obviously, it's really tremendously exciting to start seeing the power of global digital money unfold. This proliferation of wallets, exchanges, trading firms that support stablecoins like USDC and others, they're laying the foundation for broad scale usage in international payments. And I think we're going to continue to explore this in future episodes. We're going to be talking firsthand to businesses that are building on stablecoins. And we want to show, kind of showcase live the speed and the power that these have to move money and value around the world. So we'll have an exciting episode coming up where we get hands-on and really show the power of this for people and businesses around the world. On a similar note, I'm excited that next week's show, we're going to be talking about stablecoins and global financial inclusion, a topic that we touched on today, a very profound impact on people everywhere who have mobile devices but don't participate in this global financial system. Stablecoins are creating a way for them to do that for the first time. And we're going to be joined by several guests who are going to speak about the real transformation in people's lives that becomes possible with digital currency proliferation around the world. This promise of connecting people everywhere into a more open and inclusive financial system has animated not just our work, but I think the work of many innovators and entrepreneurs in the industry. So we're going to be excited to continue to dive into that theme next week. So until next week, stay well, stay safe, and stay informed. Thank you very much.